Hello, everyone. This is Tom Fox back for another episode. And today I'm absolutely thrilled to have with me Sherrie Castillo, Cindy Peyton, and Sonja Miley. Ladies, first of all, welcome.
Hear you.
So, you all are going to do a show called, or at least be a part of a show of the Hill Country Trails and Tales. Can you start off by telling me how this show came about?
Sherrie said, yeah, I knew you were going to say, Sherrie, I thought it would be fun. These two ladies are a pleasure to work with. And I thought it would also force me to get some work done,
There
get
is
some
that.
painting done.
Where's the show going to be held?
At the Kerrville Cultural Arts Center.
KACC. Do you have a date?
We'll run April 9th through May 4th.
That's close enough.
The reception with the artists will be the 18th of April on Saturday from 2 to 4.
April 18th is going to be a busy day. Okay, I have not met you, Sherrie, nor have I met you, Sonja, and I love to explore with artists your story of how you came to being an artist today. So, have you been drawing and painting all your life? Did you start as a little girl? Did you draw in high school? I met one woman who started at age 67. And so, yeah, tell us about your story.
Just recently, in the last few years, thought it would be great to have a hobby. My daughter took me to one of those places where you paint and sip wine, and my painting turned out horrible. It was embarrassing. And so it motivated me, though, to go buy some paints and try again. So I've been doing a little painting ever since.
All right. And then, Sonja, how about yourself?
I've always liked to draw or paint, but I didn't do anything really till in high school. I took one art class. But when my daughter, who's now 33, was 4, I decided there was a young woman who taught, it was more decorative painting, like on wood or on a bedstead. And so I did that for a while, but I retired 10 years ago. And that's when I started taking art lessons.
And how long would you say you've had, or at least had, paintings that went into shows?
This is actually my first show.
Oh, how exciting.
Because where I took painting lessons, I hadn't been there long enough to make any connections or join any art clubs. I was just having fun.
Was that here in Kerrville?
No, it was in McKinney, Texas.
Okay. How long have you been in Kerrville?
We've been here six years.
6 years. How about you, Sherrie? How long have you been in Kerrville?
10 years.
Okay, Cindy, tell us your story again.
Basically, I've always done something creative. I've always done something creative when I did things in high school that were drawing, painting, pottery. But I came back to it in Colorado about 10 years ago when my son became the age where he wasn't going to be around. My husband was traveling and I needed a hobby, and cleaning is not a hobby. So I said, I'm going to go do something creative. And I took painting classes there in Colorado, oil painting. I decided that's what I was going to do. And I took those for about 3 years until I moved here 5 years ago. And then now we have so many beautiful videos and ways to learn and people to follow. And Kerrville is an amazing artistic community. And so if you want to find your people and your tribe here, you can. And that's really important. That's how I met these two ladies, through the Kerrville Art Club.
So tell us about Trails and Tales.
I think it's a great way to celebrate the hill country and all the wonderful wildlife and creatures that live in it. I think we all love painting scenes from the hill country.
I write. I don't paint, but I'm always intrigued by the creative process. So for me, I see it in my head, and then I record what I see in my head. So what's each one of your process? Do you take a picture? Do you go out and sit? Do you do plein air painting? Do you look at other paintings? All of the above, none of the above? Sure. How do you get inspired to put something on canvas?
Usually from a photo I've taken. If I don't have a photo, then I search for photos and I'll look for, maybe if I'm going to paint a rabbit, I'll look for ears that I like, and then I'll look for eyes that I like, and I'll look for different features and then try to create my own rabbits.
How about you, Cindy?
I would say that I find most of my inspiration in nature. I like to walk around. I like the way the sun hits the trees. I love to paint trees. There's something very beautiful about the shape and the irregularity and the imperfections in trees, which I like. And then I just see a moment in time that I want to grab. So the sunflowers is probably a really good representation of that. That was just, I was driving by them one day and I thought the way the sun hit them in the blue sky. And so I took a snapshot and that's how I painted those. So that's how it happens for me.
Sonja?
My husband takes pictures. He likes to take pictures and likes the deer. We were actually down by the Guadalupe on the trail walking, and that deer just posed for it. But I didn't paint it till this year. It was taken a couple years ago. And my art teacher that saw it online, his Facebook page said, "Sonja, you gotta paint that." I'm like, "Oh, I don't know. That's a lot." But mostly I use his pictures. Sometimes I take my own pictures, but he usually has a trove of things I can look through.
Sherrie, what's yours?
I do the buffalo and the little raccoon over here looking over the log.
Who's the finest?
Yes,
That's
that's
you?
mine.
Okay.
And the deer.
So not too many buffalo around here. There are a few exotics.
There are a few off 173.
Okay. So is that where the picture came? How about the raccoon?
He's one that I pulled together from a variety of different photos.
The donkey has a cool story.
Tell us the donkey story.
So that donkey, and I have to get his name, but there is a miniature donkey ranch out off the Harper Road, and you can make a reservation and you can go out and just spend time with the mini donkeys. And that's where he came from. There's a whole like an older couple that has maybe 8 or 9 donkeys. Super fun. So that was local, believe it or not.
So let's talk about the deer,
Okay.
except I want to talk about the trees.
Okay.
So I'm seeing a lot in those trees. I'm seeing a lot of light. I'm seeing shade. I'm seeing nuance. I'm seeing perhaps an autumn or winter time of the year.
Yes.
But it's not dark seating. It's not a time of the year when there's not life, because I see huge celebration of life. Have I misread that?
No, it was exactly like that. And the trees, the cypress trees, had so much character. That took probably more than the deer took as far as painting, because I wanted to get the trees like we saw them.
Now, there's one tree on the ground, and I find that equally interesting. Why would you put a tree with, I guess,
It was there in the picture. Yeah. There were more on the ground actually, but I didn't put them all on there. But he was standing right in front of that one.
So I have to say, Cindy, with the sunflowers, I can almost see the sunlight off the sunflowers. And I'm seeing to the left of this, as you look at it, I bet if I went to the right, I'd see a different light.
That's correct. I was trying to capture that almost a backlit sense of almost looking through some of the petals and the shadow side. And just the freedom of them waving in, because those are like your wild flowers, the wild sunflowers, not the big ones. It's out by the airport actually, and they just wave in the wind, and that's where I found them. So I try to keep it very loose.
The farmhouse.
The farmhouse. Yeah.
You can look at this in a lot of different ways, but I'm seeing a celebration here. And I'm seeing a celebration of an American lifestyle. The guy who I was reviewing before you all came in, he's leading a group called KACC 250. It's to celebrate America's birthday here in Kerr County. And that would seem to be a perfect celebration of an American way of life.
Actually, we were driving around, and that is a house in Kerr County, and it has a barn, and that tractor was by the barn. And to me, when I started painting the house, I was like, wow, I just like for that house to stand out because it's seen a lot and they've worked a lot. And my thought when I was painting the clouds was like, they're ready for the rain. And so I enjoyed it as I was painting it.
I like the implication of the rain coming.
So you've shown at the KACC.
I have, yes.
That's when I met you.
That's right. I did Hill Country Horizons just over 2 years ago with Don Wire.
Right.
Yeah.
So tell us about, what does the KACC bring to the artist community in Kerrville? Those are talking about the other part.
Yeah, the KACC is such a great resource. I'm a member and I saw things through the gift shop. I've shown there a couple of times. Our art club, the Kerrville Art Club, meets there once a month. So in the summer, they also have room for kids programs. There's other painting groups that use the space. So it's such a wonderful thing to have here. And it brings so many people together in creation and in learning.
They helped
So-
me meet people because we came during COVID.
Absolutely, for us too.
We moved January, or I moved January 2020, and I was here alone for several months. And so nobody was meeting anybody. But the center has so much to offer.
Yeah. And the Kerrville Art Club is great. Just a lot of nice people. And that's how you learn who's taking lessons and who's talk shop about brushes and surfaces and all the things that my husband doesn't really want to hear for 3 hours at home. So it's that way of really connecting with people and learning.
Yeah. Lots of support and guidance.
As I wouldn't say patron, but as a customer or consumer, what I love about the KACC's, first of all, it's in a 1930s post office building.
Yeah.
And I think those old Art Deco 30s government buildings, whether they're post office or other, I just love those. So there's that in my mind. But the other thing is, I just think it's this cultural jewel we have here in Kerrville. It brings artists like yourself. It brings people. My wife and I, we go to every show. We know Lanza and talk to all of the staff, and everybody knows us. My wife is English, so she's that English girl. And so that English girl is here. But we've seen just some fascinating exhibits, and we've met equally fascinating people, all the way from people in their 60s and 70s who are painting or creating art down to Shriner students who've shown there some of their projects. So it's, to my mind, just this jewel we have. And it's not that it's unknown, but I wish people would really recognize or understand how lucky we are to have.
I would agree. And I'm surprised when I've mentioned it to people, when people ask where I've shown and I say the KACC and they look at me and I feel like they've been here longer than I have, and Arts and Cultural Center. And when I'm looking for a gift for someone too, I go to the gift shop. I want something, I think as we get older, I don't want another tchotchke. I want something meaningful. I want something handmade. And so that's where I go get gifts, and they have all different price points and people make beautiful cards. It is a lovely resource for that too. But yeah, it's amazing how old, to me, how you see some of the older people still creating. And I love that. There's people in our art club that are in their 60s, 70s, and now 90s creating and bringing things to the shows. Good stuff. Beautiful works. It's inspiring.
Is there anything else you wanted to add or we should add about the upcoming show? Or maybe I should ask, do you have anything else planned individually, show-wise in 2026?
No. And I'm feeling I'm picking one.
I have a thought that I might run with. I have been working in some what's called like an oil, like a simple oil, like it's a very almost sketching one, and it captures just a moment, not a lot of background. So I'm gonna play around a little bit. Some of the pieces that I have in this show are a little different. I paint a lot of animals and landscapes, and I do have one cow with it's a mom and a baby that I really liked. I spent a lot of time on that. But I did an abstract, and that was fun too. So I think I'm going to take some time in the studio to play and to try some new things and see where that goes. Just see where it goes.
I have a couple that I didn't finish or that I want to change. So my hope is that I'll get it changed by the time our art club has another show to get in there. Because I've been working really hard to try to get ready for this one. Sherrie asked me several months ago, but you're thinking, oh, I have several months. It goes by pretty fast.
It does.
You guys have websites?
I don't.
All right.
I do not. I had one, but I use mostly Instagram.
Okay. What's your Instagram handle?
My Instagram is, my initials are CP, so it's CP Palette. CP Palette. I'm going to put the Gmail, but it's CP Palette.
Okay. Sherrie?
Yeah, no, I'm still new to this.
Okay. Well, ladies, I wanted to thank you all for coming down. I wanted to thank you for the paintings. This has been a great addition. I know Andrew always takes a picture. So we're going to get a picture of you guys.